actually unsinkable. Did you not know that? It is made of self-healing materials. We are perfectly fine.
What are self-healing materials?
Self-healing materials are a new class of smart materials that have the ability to heal, much like a living organism. These materials will begin to fail under high stress and temperatures, as well as corrosion, where cracks, fatigue, and defects are introduced. Although soft materials have huge promise in applications due to their easily manipulated mechanical properties, low corrosion, and low cost, this failure is especially prevalent because of their lower transition temperatures and weaker bonding than hard materials. The healing process occurs when molecules flow to a wounded area and repair bonds after mechanical damage. Ultimately, the material regains its mechanical properties. This ability opens the door to many applications, especially where human intervention is difficult. Nanostructures offer many possibilities in biomaterials for drug delivery, biosensing, and bioimaging. Atoms on the surface rearrange and produce defects in order to become more thermodynamically favorable, changing the material's properties. Because of this, it is pertinent to use self-healing technology to keep the integrity of nanostructures. The overall goal is to automatically heal defects of any size multiple times when there is damage.
We're all going to die! No need to panic. Self-healing nanomaterials are based on years of research and testing. Let me explain how they work and hopefully it'll put your mind at ease. Self-healing materials are defined by their ability to recover to their original state after being exposed to mechanical and environmental stress. Self-healing coatings are commonly found as polymers or synthesized from chemical substrates. For polymer-based materials, self-healing functions through either reversible cross-linking of broken chemical bonds or by repairing the defect using a healing agent stored in microcapsules. Polymer coatings made from covalently cross-linked polymers yielding a stronger protective layer with better mechanical qualities, including a high fracture resistance and high modulus. An advantage of self-healing polymer coatings is that they begin the healing process automatically when presented with a catalyst such as an elevated temperature. When considering a metallic system, a coating on the surface provides a passive protection by preventing the environment from corroding the surface of the metal. However, this coating will not be indefinitely impervious, so a self-healing coating will significantly extend the lifetime of a metal part. Epoxy-based polymer coatings have been found to heal cracks when exposed to an embedded catalyst.
Afternoon, everybody.
Captain,
I hope that little ding didn't scare any of you too badly. Let me assure you that everything is fine.
just like I told you, the boat is self-healing. It'll take more than a little iceberg to take us down.
I still don't get it. Can you show us?
Of course. Captain, you take the wheel. I'll show these fine folk to the boiler room where they can see self-healing in action. Welcome to the boiler room.
Yeah, so to be honest with you guys, we had a strong feeling that this would happen to the boat when the captain was announced. So we took a lot of precautions when considering what materials to use and how we could manage any damage done. So essentially what we're looking at right now is some very intense and large-scale damage done from the iceberg. There will likely be irreparable damage because there are not self-healing metals, but what we do have are some self-healing polymers. We have integrated these self-healing polymers into the metal in small capsules. This is the first method used to release highly attractive bonding material when there's a trigger, which in this case is abrupt damage to its surroundings. When these capsules rupture, they mix with monomers and a catalyst inside as they are freely distributed throughout the compound, and this allows for the polymerization bonds to happen without any additional heat or energy intake. How cool is that? Since this boat covers a lot of area, we've actually created an external design that can feed the system or place of damage when it senses that the embedded monomers are being depleted. The next step we took was to coat the metal in a polymer that is water repellent and self-heals.
Leno!
Okay, so self-healing, as the name implies, basically it should react to the environment and need an input to environment to provide protection in situ. If let's say there's a breach of polymer coating, which happens to be nano coating, and if there are constituents in there which will sense that, and how will they sense it? It can be electrochemical sensing, or it can be because of change in pH or change in some local chemical constituent. Whenever there is a crack, if environment is changing because of that crack, so these constituents of concrete, for example, they'll get activated. And if they are, let's say, increasing volume of their or volume of this particular constituent gets increased, they'll fill that crack. Okay? That's how micro cracks may be filled wherever moisture is getting in or some corrosive environment is getting in. These constituents will basically react to that.
Enough of the technicalities. These people want a story.
The first self-healing materials actually date back to ancient Rome, where the Romans used a special type of volcanic ash to make mortar. When this mortar was damaged, the components would react and form a crystalline matrix, which would seal the crack. These mortars have lasted almost 2,000 years. But this doesn't have much bearing on modern self-healing materials. Self-healing materials as we know them didn't come around until 2001, when Scott White and Nancy Sotos first synthesized them at the University of Illinois.
Oh, my stomach isn't feeling so good. Somebody call a nurse.
Nurse! Nurse!
That sounds like a stomach ulcer. Somebody pass me the self-healing hydrogel.
Self-healing hydrogel? I thought I knew everything about self-healing nanopolymers.
These nanomolecules self-heal in low acidic environments so they can be used in the low pH environment of the stomach. They are created via chemical and physical cross-linking and can be dispersed using a syringe. They heal autonomously and each molecule builds on top of each other. They're basically nano 3D printers. What have you been ingesting, Captain?
Don't worry about it, old sport. Thanks for the help.
Wow, so what other applications do these self-healing nanomaterials have?
Why don't we go sit down and talk about it? They can also be used as self-healing asphalts to repair cracks before they become potholes. The icebergs of the road, as some people call it. They can also be used in electronic applications. Many flexible electronic applications suffer from malfunction after continuous wear. However, boron nitride nanosheets on a base polymer can reform and restore function after multiple breakages. These boron nitride nanosheets are interconnected via hydrogen bonding groups. The electrostatic forces between these hydrogen groups allow the pieces to reassemble. The focus on dielectric materials has a lot of promise in the future.
Nurse!
I also heard they can protect the metals against corrosion by repairing damage as it occurs to the protective coatings.
Nurse, we need you!
Alright, I gotta go.
He's right. Self-healing nanomaterials have great potential for protection against corrosion, especially in applications where human intervention is particularly intense. For example, NASA has conducted heavy research into self-healing materials for corrosion resistance because while traveling through space or on the surface of another planet, many particulates may fly into or nick the surface of vesicles, leading to a shorter device lifetime. These anti-corrosion nanomaterials generally use a microencapsulation as their mechanism of action. However, these microcapsules are also filled with corrosion inhibitors, which will leak into any coating defect and inhibit electrochemical reactions, the source of corrosion. Did you hear that? It sounds like someone went overboard. Let's go check it out.
Actually, while Captain was talking, I looked into some of the limitations of self-healing nanomaterials, and I found a lot. First of all, many of the repair mechanisms are not fast enough to prevent damage. For example, if a device that was meant to be waterproof, such as wearable electronics, broke, it would need to self-heal almost immediately to ensure that no damage was done and the electrical properties were still intact. Additionally, a lot of the mechanisms that were described in this presentation require very specific conditions, like warmer temperatures to be activated. The methods involving encapsulation can normally only self-heal one time, as the capsules become depleted quickly in areas where the damage occurs. There needs to be a way to create a self-sustaining, self-healing biomaterial going forward, kind of what the human cardiovascular system does.
On the topic of biomedical applications and limitations, it is extremely difficult to produce self-healing materials that are both biocompatible and able to retain their mechanical properties. For example, self-healing hydrogels are able to self-regenerate into a viable scaffold that promote tissue remodeling ex vivo. The material is unable to successfully integrate into the surrounding tissues without exciting an inflammatory response. This means that even under gentle daily movement, the material would be much more likely to fracture. In a similar way, self-healing PMMA bone cements have been used to help assist in bone grafts and remodeling. The issue is that PMMA is mildly toxic to the surrounding environment, so inflammation can occur. Additionally, it is important that the strength of the bone cement matches the mechanical properties of bone. If it is too strong, the bone will not be needed for support and start to degrade. And if it is not strong enough, the bone will take on more wear and be more likely to fracture. In the field of electronic nanomaterials, where there is a big future for self-healing applications, there are a lot of drawbacks that must be overcome. It is known that self-healing electronic nanomaterials are able to reform cross-linked hydrogen bonds that dissipate strain energy through weak bond breaking, allowing them to maintain their electrical conductance. However, researchers are still working on ways to restore thermal conductivity characteristic to prevent the self-healing materials from overheating.
These limitations must be overcome for advances to be made in self-healing nanomaterials.
You make some good points on the limitations, but the future of self-healing materials is bright, and researchers are already beginning to overcome some of the limitations you brought up. First, the overall speed of healing is improving. Methods like microencapsulation begin healing almost immediately, and the technique is being expanded so it can be extended beyond microcracks. In addition to this, a major obstacle to overcome going forward is the fact that many of the self-healing methods, like microencapsulation, can only occur once. Scientists are looking toward biological systems and using biomimicry to find a way to continuously heal, just like the circulatory system in humans. It is also important to ensure that the hydrogels that are being introduced into the body are being able to match the mechanical properties of their surrounding environments so that they can fairly share the stresses associated with the environment. Lastly, researchers need to and have already begun to look into the multifunctionality of self-healing nanomaterials for biomedical applications. For example, hydrogels are being explored for their potential use in timed drug delivery because of their ability to be stimulated by various forms. See, Jack, you don't have to die like this.
You took too long to explain. I can't tread water any longer.
You don't have to tread water. You can stand where you are. You don't have to die.
I didn't have to die in the original either.